most famous physical therapist on the internet.
Howdy, folks. I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Handheld, physical
Because
therapist.
we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
Today, we are going to show you how to strengthen the painful shoulder. There's 3 exercises. We're assuming that you may have already started the stretching program that we have under the shoulder program, which you find at bobandbrad.com.
That's right.
But if not, you could start this. I mean, as long as you can tolerate it, as long as the pain allows you.
Right. It should not create any sharp pain and just very little pain, if any. And we'll talk a little bit more about it as we go through them.
How often should you exercise? You can exercise 2 to 3 times a week. You can do the strengthening program. If you're busy, you can only do 2. You can do 2. You can get by with 2. 3 might be a little bit better.
And there's some people that are going to say, boy, that doesn't sound like very much. But this was
researched. They found out that by doing more, it really didn't help. In fact, they found out there really wasn't much difference between 2 and 3. So in most cases, you could probably get by with 2. In addition, you can do each exercise for 10 to 20 repetitions. You're going to start off with just 10.
Sure.
Because I want to see how you tolerate this. Go for a couple days and then see how, if you got really sore or how'd you did.
Right. If it's tolerated well, then you can bump up to that 20 mark.
Remember, these are small muscles. These are not large muscles. They're very small muscles, and they're moving what we call a long lever arm. So,
or just your arm.
Your arm, right. So it's moving. You got small muscles lifting a long arm, so you don't want to overwork them. You can actually injure them by doing so. All right, first one, simple to do. I'm going to have you hold these right now, Brad.
Oh, sure.
It's called Sideline Abduction. This is the painful shoulder. You're going to start palm down. This is going to strengthen the supraspinatus and serratus anterior for those of you who are interested. Thank you, Brad.
Although it's going to interrupt your mic, but that's all right.
So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to lift up to about 45 degrees. I don't want you to go any further.
Yes.
Because this is all against gravity anyway. Right. Once you start going this way, you're almost getting gravity assisted.
So 45, let's clarify that for some people, is halfway between that and straight up.
Right.
So it's not that far, but it's just like Bob is showing.
And again, not that difficult unless you have a painful shoulder or you've had a weak shoulder.
Yep.
And you'll find out that, if you do 20 of these, you actually start to feel it.
Sure.
Now, over time, if it feels like that's not enough, you can start adding weights. You can take a can of soup, maybe for the first time, to add about a pound. But eventually, you can get to the point where you use a dumbbell. This is 3 pounds. And I'm going to go up again to the 45. And we're going to do the 10 repetitions, up to 20 repetitions eventually.
Sure. 3 pounds is for an exercise like this, that's
a fair amount.
That's pretty advanced.
Yes.
If you're rehabbing from an injury, again, without a weight, a 12-ounce can of soup will be a good place to start.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to fatigue a little bit. I mean, I think by the time I got to 20, that would be difficult.
Yeah.
All right, next one. It's nice because you stay in the same position. You're going to do external rotation here now. So you're going to start with the palm down, and you're going to go all the way up as high as you can.
One critical point is notice Bob's elbow position.
I'm not going like this and like this. I'm keeping it at the 90-degree angle.
And bring your hand up once. Nope. Do the exercise.
Yep.
Notice his elbow maintains contact with his body. He doesn't create a gap in there.
Yeah, quite often we might recommend even putting a towel here.
Sure.
And you don't let the towel.
Well, when you're laying down, it's not going to fall out.
Yeah, it's not going to fall out very easy.
But this is
it's a good reminder.
Yep.
And it makes it a little more comfortable. So the same thing with this one. You're going to do 10 to 20 repetitions. First time, you're going to only do 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then if that feels pretty good, doesn't bother you, you're going to go up to 20. Then when 20 is pretty comfortable, you're going to add some weight. Again, probably the soup can would be the way to start. And then eventually you can start adding weights by using a little dumbbell.
Right. And if you don't want to go out and buy dumbbells, get a bigger can of soup.
Yeah, or for some of you out there, you can use your purse. It's amazing. My arm is starting to
Well,
fatigue.
3 pounds is quite a bit for this particular
I mean,
exercise.
just from having done the other ones already, this is not something I do I do with the bands.
Yeah.
We're going to show you an alternative way to do this later. So this is teres minor and infraspinatus muscle. For those of you who know, wow, I'm really starting to feel
Oh,
that.
Bob, you got to toughen
I'm
up.
a
Give me that
wolf.
weight.
Wussy.
One thing I do want to go back down once, Bob. I
Sure.
think we didn't emphasize this. Do it without the weight. It doesn't matter. Let's say it starts to hurt when you get halfway up.
Yeah.
Well, if there's no pain until you get to that point, you can do this exercise in the pain-free range.
Yes, you can go like this.
When it starts to hurt, you stop, go back down.
Right.
And the idea is after a day or two, that pain-free range, instead of being there, may be up to here. And then after a week, you should have regained full range of motion.
Right. It's a progression.
Right. Yep.
All right. So that's those 2 exercises. The last one's very simple. This is for the subscapularis muscle.
Oh.
So all you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and turn around, put your
Oh.
palm, and you're going to send your palm out. Move your palm out. You don't want to go up or down.
Right.
You're going just straight out from the back.
Right about at the belt line. Yep, palms out. And this is, on a healthy shoulder, you can see we're not getting very far from our body.
No.
And that's normal.
And you can eventually do it lying down, which would be a little more against gravity.
Yep.
Like this.
Yep.
But I wouldn't add any weight to that. You
No.
just don't need to.
Yep.
That's not that strong of a muscle, and I wouldn't add any weight to it.
Yeah, functionally, the other exercises are more important for weight.
So again, 2 times a week at least, 10 to 20 repetitions each one. We're going to show you an alternative way to do it using the wall anchor and stretch bands or exercise bands.
Right. So if it's 2 times a week, I don't really need to say this, but not Monday and Tuesday. It would be like
Right, good
Monday and
point.
Thursday or Tuesday and
point, really
Friday.
good point.
Spread it out.
If you do it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday,
Yep.
whatever you want to do.
Sure.
So.
Yep.
All right, we'll go over to the bands now.
All right. So we're going to use these bands, exercise bands. They're very popular nowadays. And it's nice to have a handle with it. You actually don't have to have a handle. It just makes it easier and a little more convenient. And then you have to have something to anchor the end of the band to. You can anchor to a doorknob, a piece of heavy furniture. We use the wall anchor because they're extremely handy, as you'll find out. We do sell these if you're interested.
We'll have a link.
They bolt, the link below, they bolt up. You have to have a wooden stud behind your wall. That is the only way that we recommend to use them. And this is why we like to use them. They actually are so easy to hook up for a lot of different exercises. Now, the one Bob showed laying on the side and doing the abduction out to the side like this.
Now, again, you'd start off without weight. You wouldn't start off with the bands.
Right.
And then,
Just
right. And then
no weight at all.
And then eventually you go to a band.
Yep. And the beauty of the band is you can change the color indicates the resistance. And the other way you can change resistance, let's say I do this. Let's say I get to 20, it's pretty easy. Well, instead of changing the color resistance, I simply step a little farther away and then do the...
I just did that the other day when I started doing biceps again on the bands.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, that's not that hard. And I just took one step out. I was like, wow. Now I was getting to fatigue.
Yeah. It's so much nicer than a dumbbell where you got to grab another or you got to buy
I've been doing a little bit of both.
See,
So-
I don't have any weights because I don't really want to
Sure.
have them at my house. They take up a lot of room. Plus, they cost more. The bands I really like.
Yeah.
So you take this, just a towel, put it here, elbow here. Now, if the towel drops, that means your elbow got too far away from your body.
You're doing something wrong.
The mechanics
You're
are not
winging out.
properly. So I'm going to keep that there, and I'm just going to work it. Again, a pain-free range of motion. If it starts to hurt when you get out this far, don't go that far. Just go in a pain-free range. And as you continue on with these, that should improve, and you should get the full range of motion. Work up to 20 repetitions. And I feel them.
Don't you?
Those little muscles are working.
It's funny. I'm going to probably be sore tomorrow. This is embarrassing almost.
A common mistake is people will go down like this.
Yeah.
It's got to be, I always tell people, imagine there's a table right under your hand, and it's got to stay level there. and it's working just like that.
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on. No, Bob, they didn't
No,
wax.
wax on. Oh,
Well, they did.
yeah, okay.
Those are good rotator cuff exercises, though.
So, and you don't have to do the subscapularis, so that's all you need to do. And,
Sure.
And we find with a lot of people, they can handle that external rotation one pretty quick.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I've taught it this way for years.
Yeah.
Just because it's a little more convenient than laying down, and people are at
Sure.
work you can just do it standing in the
right,
office or
right.
wherever
you
you're
can
at.
Do it wherever you're at. So.
Well, very good.
All right, remember, check out the rest of the program on shoulder pain. It's at bobandbrad.com. Go to the program section, and you'll just find that we got a bunch of videos on painful shoulder.
There you go. Rehab from A to Z.
Thanks for watching.